Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll.
Today is March the 19th, and tomorrow is the first day of spring, and it feels like spring today outside. There's still a crispness in the air in the early mornings, and there will be at night, and next week it's going to be kind of like that all week, I think, and then the next week I'm pretty sure we're supposed to have some really nice weather, but it's definitely nice enough to start clearing this mess out. So I think this little section right here is going to be my first section to clean. In the back, I've got most of the front, but I did come out already and get this grass up, but I won't just leave it here. I will definitely go ahead and come out and take it up and put it in a bag and throw it away, because if you leave this down, and we're supposed to get rain Monday, so it will just transplant itself and keep right on going. Now if it was a plant that I wanted, that probably would not happen, but it definitely will happen with this grass. So I'm getting it out of there. I'm feeling spring. Mine and my dad's favorite season of the year. So it's wonderful, but I was so grateful for that winter's rest too. I needed it so much. And I stayed so busy, and I had some bouts with my health, and just, I don't know, it's good though to see spring again. But I also wanted to record that my nails, I never had any this year. This is probably just about as long as they got, and I always loved nails. I always have. I started growing when I was 15 years old, and honestly I still have my very first fingernails that were long enough to be proud of. But I did not get to this year. My nails have psoriasis nails, and they just were too crumbly to even get a good start this year. And my skin though has changed from its speckled and spotted kind of, but the thing is, here we go again, so it will go right back into being all speckledy. But it was kind of good just to have it get back to a normal color for a while. But that will be ending, because I will be in the sun, and it just happens that way for me now. But anyway, that's going to be just a side note, but I always love to be able to have some nails and some skin that looks a little bit better. But I'm also proud to be able to get back in the garden and have some beauty out here. These that I'm showing you right now are the magic lilies. They come up like this and just look big and pretty and amazing, and then they just go away, and you know they come back in the fall with just the lily. None of this green here there will be, but just a tall stalk with a beautiful lily at the top of it. Okay, here's my first little start on cleaning up the back. I got these little pots cleared out and back here and all around it, and up to right here. You can tell I didn't get any farther. And then some on this side. So it's not much of a start, but it is a start.
The nurseries are opening up. I have places to go, things to do, and plants to see. So we did get some good spring rain, but I don't know how much we got because I did not have my rain gauge put up. So I am going to try to do that right now so that the next time it rains, we'll know and we'll have this little job done for the day. The next thing I'm going to do, and it's still windy today and it's still cold, we have been having regular March weather because it's been absolutely winter and then spring and then winter and then spring, and it's back to winter again. It's supposed to be back to spring by the weekend. But because the ground has gotten softer, my plan now, if I can find out where I can set these and put it down in the ground so that it will hold and not be falling. To see if it's even, yeah, it's soft enough. It's going down. You can tell it's going down in there, and that way I can put my plants back up on it, and hopefully they will stay once they get anchored in the ground a bit. This fell off. It totally took my little blow off, but I'll have to do that later when I can actually get out here and get some glue and take care of that. But this little pot right here has been down all winter. I actually did set it up right before it rained because I thought, oh, it needs to get some water in that pot. But it promptly fell right back down. So what I need to do now, I'm thinking, is to get these little poles down in the ground more and anchor this so that it'll hold it up. Actually, if I could, I would like to just get it closer to this little pot. And I'm working right here at a rose bush, which I needed to probably have just trimmed off, but I'm not really sure if it's time to trim my roses because we are going to have some more cold weather. Hopefully it will not go below freezing, but it's going to get right close if not, so I may wait a bit on that. I feel like that's still not quite. These little poles actually do good most of the time for this, but I think, let's see if I can pull this one up and replace it because I think they've gotten to where they're not close enough to it that they're still allowing it to go ahead and wobble down in between. So I'm going to put them a little closer to each other and try to push them down a little farther in the ground and see if maybe that won't keep the wind from blowing it over. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works. So I got a little bit done. There's so much to do. I can't even begin to tell you. Like little by little, line upon line, precept on precept until the garden looks fine. So here's another one that has fallen down. And actually I didn't have anything around it to hold it up. It was staying up fairly well, but I think that's probably a good idea is to put some poles around it too if I'm going to leave it here, because of course this little top piece makes it top heavy and it wants to blow over. So I only found 2 of these, which means a trip to the hardware store. That happens in the spring too. There's always something that I will need. I'm sure I'll find many more things that I will need. And because this one falls over toward me, I'm going to put the 2 that I do have right here behind it and hope that will be enough. And glad that I can do that while the ground is soft. There's not much hope of it any other time to get it done. So we'll just have to keep doing little things until we can get it looking good again. And I became aware that this, where I put this one little plant stand was not where I actually wanted it. So I moved it over here and put this pot on top of it. And this is a pretty yellow mum. When
when it blooms, and this little plant in front of it is a caryopteris, and it is blue, so the blue and yellow make a pretty combination of color. So that's where, or close to where I want to keep that one. And I've been trying to keep ahead on my posts, which actually, if I'm like 2 to 4 posts ahead, that makes it, when you get it, it makes it 2 to 4 weeks behind what's actually happening in the garden. So this time you'll have it this week, because I have gotten what I feel behind, because I like to have some made in advance and ready to go on. But this time you'll get what's actually going on in the garden this week. Just last week that this one would probably come out of some of its dormancy, and look, if you can tell, that one is beginning to. And the winds are up and they are cold. But, well, one thing I'll say right now is that these irises are doing great, because I did get them trimmed up and ready to go last fall. I'm so glad I did, even though there's a lot of other stuff in there that needs to be clipped out and taken care of. But those are ready, and it just makes the whole little area of the garden look a little bit better. And it's certainly good to have something that looks better, because so much of it just looks horrible, and it's such a task ahead of me. But I've gotten a lot done this winter too, even though it was just sitting at the computer or looking through albums and finding pictures that represent a time in my family's life. And I'm going to be making movies. I actually have my mother started, and it's just it's not a physically hard job by any means, but it is very stressful, just having to do so much in one little period of time. And I knew that once the garden comes on, I've got to get out here. I've got this one little area here cleaned out, and then it just doesn't go very far before it's back into stuff that just needs to be cleaned up. And I'm still waiting to take my bags off, my plastic bags off. I'll probably do that in April. But as I was saying, while not a physical task, making a movie and gathering all the stuff to get it ready to make, scanning pictures and all the stuff that you do, is actually very much emotionally and creatively stressful, very stressful. So, but I'm not complaining, because I am going to be so grateful that I got that done, if I get it done, and hopefully I will. I have a good chance of it now. It's, get it started. That's one thing. But really, when I first started doing the pictures, I thought there was no hope of getting them scanned, but I do have them scanned. I'm ready to go ahead and make the movies now. Not quite all scanned, because there's pictures that I will get from my sisters and from maybe my mother, and I'll get that this week, and hopefully we'll just get at least Mom's done before very long. And it's just wonderful to have and to know that I won't go to my grave without being the only one with the pictures. They'll all have them, and they'll not only have just the pictures, they'll have a little flash drive of their actual story of their life, some of the things that happened in their lives. And I was looking over here, and I see there's a little hyacinth beginning to bloom right there. So, but not only will they have just the things that happen in their lives, but they'll also have songs that also depict the same things that are happening in their lives, some of them. and others just that the song that they will like, or a song of the era that they were going through at that time. So I think it's going to be great. I'll be very grateful to have gotten it done, and I'm proud of what I've done so far. But that saying, oh my goodness, I've got to get this garden back to where I can be somewhat proud of it, because things are just blown over, they are broken, they are torn down, the winds have just, done a number on them, and yet we're very lucky, and I know that because I know even recently there's been tornadoes in our state, so we have to remember to be grateful for the things that we can be grateful for. And sometimes I have to remind myself that, if I don't have time to do those things in my heart to do, that probably just means that God doesn't even need me to do those. So, but it is in my heart to do it, and I believe we should try to do what's in our heart to do, as long as it's also in the will of God. And I kind of have to think that God has given us some extra winter weather just so I could stay busy in the house and let this go a little bit longer to get a little bit more of the other done. And so eventually it's going to come together if it's His will, and I hope that it is. I believe that it is. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.